Today we're going to be talking about the latest and greatest Netflix TV series, and that is going to be Running Point, starring Kate Hudson. But before we do that, I got to get myself hydrated. Vodka, peach schnapps, lemon juice, blue curacao, Tide Pop, pineapple, soda, and here we have our enter some basketball term cocktail. All right, so let's talk Running Point. Now, this show just came on Netflix maybe the last week or two, and it's been sitting in the top 10, so I figured let's go ahead and let's give it a watch. As I mentioned before, it's starring Kate Hudson, who I don't feel like we've seen in the limelight recently, so I was kind of interested, but at the same time, I kind of thought, this might be one where, meh. So the concept of the show is that this very rich and powerful family, they've been running this fictional LA professional basketball team for decades now. It started with the father and maybe even the grandfather, but now the older brother is running at the helm. So Justin Theroux, he's the president. He's the oldest brother. He's the one who's kind of running the show and calling all the shots. Below him, another one of his brothers who is some sort of like head of staff, and then below him is another little younger brother, half brother, I believe, who is the CFO of the company, so he runs all the numbers. And then below them is Kate Hudson, who runs all the charity events. Now, right away, Justin Theroux gets himself in trouble. He gets in a car accident. He's addicted to drugs. He ends up having to go to rehab, so he steps down, and he has to pick and choose who he's handing the team over to. Everyone's kind of thinking it's going to be obviously one of the two older brothers, but instead they end up going with Kate Hudson because ultimately she loves basketball and she knows her shit better than anybody else. So my first thought when I watched the first few scenes was that some sort of an AI wrote this script. I kind of was like, it's funny, but at the same time, it seems like they're trying too hard to be funny. Like, it seemed like that episode of South Park where they built the funny bot and he just like makes punchline after punchline. Like, awkward. I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to enjoy this or not. But then after you watch maybe half of the first episode, and maybe you have to bleed into the second episode, you start kind of loving the dialogue and the interaction amongst the characters. Like, it's still a little stiff and they're a little bit like back and forth, like just kind of not meshing well, but ultimately I thought the dialogue was pretty goddamn funny. It's actually written by Mindy Kaling from The Office and Ike Barinholtz, who played in Neighbors, and he was in the Suicide Squad movie, and he's been in a couple of the Cock Blockers, so a couple other things, but I like them both. I think they're both very funny, so I was glad to see that they were kind of behind the helm on this. Now Kate Hudson's the boss bitch here, and she's kind of got to decide what she's going to do, whether she's just going to lay down and let everyone boss her around, or if she's going to be the big badass bitch. Spoiler alert, she becomes the big badass bitch. The two other brothers, they aren't too happy at first, but ultimately they kind of come around and they decide, hey, we got your back. They do love each other. They're a fucked up dysfunctional family, but they do love each other, working through shit together in the most dysfunctional family type way. Now, Brenda Song is actually in this TV show, who I haven't seen her in anything, I think, since The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, which, great to see her back. She still looks fantastic. And then, funny enough, you get a sick little cameo from her real life husband, Macaulay Culkin, in one of the final episodes. He just kind of pops up and cheers for something, and that's the end of it. Fucking, I love it. Now, with any professional sport, I'm sure, especially basketball, you got a lot of divas, prima donnas, a lot of dudes with mommy issues just all over the map, and this show is no different. So Kate Hudson's got to essentially maneuver her way into each and everyone's personal lives to make sure that they're good, they're ready to play basketball for her, because their team sucks right now. And the biggest thing with this LA Waves team, that is what they call their organization, is the LA Waves, is that they don't do rebuild seasons. So even though they're in like second to last place in the show, she's got to somehow bring everyone together to get them to the playoffs, because that's what they fucking do. They're over the cap space. They got players that want to get traded. Now, every episode kind of goes somewhat similar. There's an issue, and then they think they've resolved it, and then something goes terribly bad, and then she saves the day at the end. So it's kind of the same arc throughout each and every episode. Now, if you want to watch a show expecting to see like real, genuine basketball players playing real, genuine basketball, like, this is not the show for you. The point of the show is not to actually watch basketball. It's everything that goes outside of the actual court. So to throw another wrinkle in this show, then you also have Kate Hudson and her brothers. They find out that they have another little brother because the father fathered another child with the housemaid, and so now there's this kid, and he has the ability to sign this NDA and receive $2 million, or to essentially be a part of this family and work for them. Of course, he decides to be a part of the family and works for them, because otherwise it would be super weird and boring. He doesn't know shit other than concession stand hot dogs. So the season still keeps continuing, and these guys, they're starting to get better now under her regime, because they're starting to listen, they're starting to buy in. Everything's going well. One of her players goes by the name of Travis Bug, played by none other than Chet Hanks, son of famous Tom Hanks, is her star point guard. And he's just kind of an all-around doofus. But to be honest, like, he plays the role fairly well. Like, for what he's trying to portray and what he's trying to do, like, he's trying to be this thug from Florida. Like, he kind of reminds me of Jason Williams. Like, he's trying to be white chocolate in this TV show. Kate Hudson's fiance in the show is played by none other than Max Greenfield, who you know as Schmidt from New Girl. They have their engagement party and they just ultimately are getting closer to their wedding day, but they decide kind of that maybe this lifestyle is not for them because she's always going to be this boss bitch and his job's always going to come second. And ultimately, he feels like he's constantly playing second fiddle because, you know, basketball. On top of that, I'm pretty sure Kate Hudson wants to fuck the coach, which fine, he's a good looking dude and I would too, but at the same time, like, it just kind of convolutes her whole relationship and what she wants to do in this organization. So yeah, there's more to come on that. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen there. Meanwhile, the oldest brother, who originally was the president, he's sitting in rehab this whole time, and all he can think about is coming back. You can kind of maybe get the idea that he could be a little shady, maybe doing some shitty shit behind the scenes. He's leaking some information. He's just doing some shit that might be trying to kind of put a stop to his sister's success. So more to come on that, I'm sure. So again, the whole point is to get the team to the playoffs, which they do because she has done such a good job organizing everyone, getting everything in the right place. And so they make it to the playoffs. They make a good run. And unfortunately, in the last episode, they lose before they get to the finals by a 60-foot half-court buzzer beater. Like, the dude chucks it up and he fucking just swishes it. It's like he was shooting a free throw. Pretty sure it was Kelly Olynyk shooting that bitch too. If I go back and I watch it, I'm almost positive it is Kelly Olynyk who was throwing that shit up. Kelly Olynyk has no business taking the last shot in an actual NBA game, let alone a fucking TV show NBA game. So then the last few scenes is Kate Hudson. She's down in the dumps, but she's ultimately feeling good because she did so much for the team and she got into a place. She has respect from everybody now. And she walks into her office, and there sits her older brother, Cam, who's back from rehab because why the fuck not? So it leaves you a little bit on a cliffhanger there, and you're not really sure what's to come. But they already did announce they are doing a second season. I did not think I was going to like it at all. I 100% thought it was going to be really cheesy and really clunky, and I just thought it was going to be kind of a really try-hard type show. I had no business liking the show. That being said, I thoroughly enjoyed the show. It was funny. It kept me engaged. I binged the hell out of it. I watched all 10 episodes, I think, in a night and a half. Like, it was entertaining enough. Like, they did a good job with enough storylines, and there's enough to go on for a second season. So now I'm hooked. I'm curious to see what the fuck they do. I want to see Chet Hanks get out of rehab and fucking dunk it on some bitches. Enjoy this for what it is. Just a nice, enjoyable comedy that maybe tries a little bit too hard to throw the word fuck in there sometimes. I can definitely relate to that. Fuck. But if you guys haven't watched it already, go ahead and give it a watch. Give it at least the first few episodes a watch and let me know what you guys think. Let me know if there's anything else on Netflix that you guys think I should be binging and ultimately doing a review on. But hope you guys enjoyed the video and hope you guys enjoyed the take. Until next time, see you guys later.